Welcome to the Deficient Vegans podcast, episode 47. I'm the muscle deficient vegan here with the protein deficient vegan. Do you want to say hi?
Hello.
Hi, everybody. This week, we're going to break down why regular gym sessions or exercise don't fully cancel out a sedentary workday or a lifestyle where you sit around a lot. And we'll also share some practical tips and tricks to add a few thousand steps to your day without, making it a whole adventure or changing your life too much.
So from a couch potato to a couch tater tot?
Oh, because it takes slightly more effort to make a tater tot?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. We'll also discuss our myth of the week this week, which is that animal-based leather is more environmentally friendly than vegan leather. So we'll see. But first up, new news.
New news.
So a Toronto startup, AUX Labs.
Or AUX.
Or AUK.
Or GoldX.
GoldX, because AU.
Yeah, we don't know.
Anyway, they make precision fermented dairy protein. So we're back to talking about some precision fermentation. And they raise funding to be able to get their animal-free cheese into pizza shops and other small restaurants.
I hope they'll be at pizza shops we can buy from.
Yeah, they're a Canadian company, and they didn't have a timeline or anything for distribution in the articles that I saw, but hopefully they'll make it way down here eventually.
We're not that far from Canada.
That's true.
We can drive to Canada.
This is a melty, stretchy type cheese with casein proteins. So this is, bioidentical basically to an animal-based casein protein, but it doesn't use animals.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I wonder... I do know that I am now dairy intolerant because we accidentally got dairy at a restaurant we ate at that had a vegan menu.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I'd even be able to eat that.
I don't have high hopes based on my reaction.
You basically found out you have a dairy intolerance because you had, what was that protein powder that's bioidentical to something, but it's still vegan?
Yeah, it was just my protein had a vegan whey that I tried.
Yeah.
Similar to, if you've heard of space milk, I think it's similar to that. But the My Protein one, I'm very intolerant to, even though it's not real dairy. So.
And that messed you up.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll be able to eat some of the things like this when they come out, but we'll see.
Yeah. I don't have high hopes for myself after getting daried.
Luckily, I don't think I'll be too sad if I can't eat them because we have great options anyway, but it'd be nice to have some stretchy cheese every once in a while.
It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Next up, Walmart has been sued for allegedly using potentially animal-derived and inorganic synthesized additives in their Better Grands brand plant-based milk.
I don't know why the phrase Walmart is being sued makes me smile, but it does.
Yeah. Better Goods is their in-house brand that typically focuses on healthier options. They actually have a lot of vegan options in the line now.
Or plant-based, I guess.
Well, yeah. I think there are some that are marked vegan, but yeah. The lawsuit argues that the plant-based label is misleading if all of the additives aren't derived from plants.
Which, I've said this about Morningstar more than a dozen times.
Yeah, they were one of the first ones we ran across that was using the plant-based label but had milk or some other animal products.
Yeah, the plant-based label in general, I have a lot of issues with it, right? Because I think there is no specific definition. Like with vegan, the definition is it doesn't have animal products at all. It hasn't been tested on animals.
Right.
No animal harm, right?
Right.
But then plant-based seems to be all-encompassing of a myriad of things. So basically... I've seen omnivores use it to say they're plant-based, but they still eat meat on a regular basis. They just are leaning more towards plant-based options, but they call themselves plant-based.
Yeah.
But then you have the brand Morningstar, which will label shit plant-based, but then it has eggs and dairy in it. I don't know what plants eggs and dairy come from, but I'm pretty sure they come from cows and chickens.
Yeah.
But then you have other people will say plant-based is just synonymous with vegan.
Yeah.
As far as food goes. So it's really confusing.
I agree. And I'm not sure I'm fully on board with part of this lawsuit, which is basically if it has synthesized ingredients, it shouldn't say plant-based. I don't know about that part, but I will be happy if the lawsuit leads to more clarity and kind of rules around the plant-based labeling.
I agree, especially since I guess there's one or more studies that came out recently that said it was a marketing survey type of thing that was saying that people respond better to plant-based as a label instead of vegan as a label on foods. Vegan labels are kind of turnoffs for consumers. Yeah,
that's a big issue even for restaurants. They can't really market that this dish is vegan. They're better off just not saying anything and having it be vegan.
Which is kind of a problem because when you're a vegan and you want to know if something is vegan, now you have vegan companies that are now using the plant-based label, which, as we talked about, can mean a number of things.
Right.
So, I think it's a good time to sort it out. And if Walmart gets screwed in the process, all the better.
All right. Next up, vegan Anne Esselstyn set a Guinness World Record at 90 years old for being the oldest person to hold a dead hang, which
That's
is
crazy.
where you hold, you hang from like a pull-up bar by your arms out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's hard.
It is really hard. A lot of people can only hold it for like 30 seconds. She's 90 and she held it for 2 minutes and 52 seconds.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you tried doing monkey bars since you became an adult?
No, I don't think I have, actually.
I had a little, like the Big Brother, Big Sister program.
Yeah.
So I took her to the playground. This was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's like doing monkey bars and she's like, do monkey bars with me. And I tried and bro, I like could not get across them.
You need to get back in practice.
Yeah. Can't do cartwheels either. It's weird.
Yeah.
Once you stop doing them, you can't do them anymore.
I could probably do a cartwheel.
Okay. We'll find out after this.
We'll just say I can do one. I'm not going to prove it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I probably can too.
Okay. Anne Esselstyn has been an athlete all her life, and she played and coached in 10 different sports.
I didn't even know there were 10 different sports you could play in.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. If their last name sounds familiar, it's because her husband is Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who you may have seen in the Forks Over Knives documentary. He's a big proponent of whole food plant-based, and he's a doctor that does work with reversing and preventing heart disease with a plant-based diet. And then her son is Rip Esselstyn, who was a firefighter, and then he started the Plant Strong food brand that you see in Whole Foods.
Yeah. Pretty extraordinary plant-based family.
Yeah, and pretty extraordinary athletes. Her husband was an Olympic rower. She was in a lot of sports. Rip was elite level in sports, and I think she had several other kids and grandkids who were all elite athletes. So she left quite the legacy there.
Rip is a really cool name, by the way.
Oh, I know.
Ooh, bonus round on news this week.
Okay.
Apparently 5 female elephants death stomped a
big game hunter.
A big game hunter.
Yeah. Big game hunting is weird to me because they basically just drive you up to this animal that can't get away.
Yeah, it's not impressive.
Yeah.
You're not cool.
So, yeah.
Go elephants. Also, I guess he was a millionaire, so that's been like trending everywhere I exist on social media.
Yeah, I mean, karma, I guess.
I haven't seen any Team Millionaire. I just keep seeing Team Elephant. So
Right. All right, let's get into the main segment. So talking about trying to be a little more active, even if you are stuck in like a desk job or you have a pretty sedentary life. Why does this matter? So there's something called the active couch potato effect. So the active couch potato effect is basically that sedentary time or time where you're sitting around is an independent health risk, even if you're an active person. So they say that, exercising, maybe even exercising every day, doesn't fully offset like 8 hours of sitting unless your activity level in general is very high. There was a big meta-analysis of this back in 2016 where they looked at over 1 million people across 16 studies.
Jesus.
Yeah. And they said that it looks like it took about 60 to 75 minutes a day of moderate physical activity to eliminate the increased risk of death associated with a high sitting time. So if you have a desk job, you would have to work out for like almost an hour and a half a day to offset that risk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Tangentially related.
Yeah.
My friend that I used to work with, so basically a couple years ago, everyone was getting standing desks.
Yeah.
Like all the older guys in the group were getting standing desks. And then he told them, yeah, you do need to be standing. You've been sitting your whole life.
It's true.
And he said that because he was younger and he didn't have a standing desk, and it was hilarious.
Oh, man. You've been sitting your whole life. And on top of that, specifically watching TV for 3 hours or more a day was associated with increased mortality, except for if you were like in the 25% most active people, basically. And then even if you were in the 25% most active people, it was still associated with increased mortality if you watched TV for 5 hours or more a day. So basically, if you watch TV for 5 hours or more a day, there was not a level of activity that offset a significant increase in mortality risk.
Even if you watched the TV while you walked on a treadmill?
Well, no, it was sitting and watching TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't sit and watch TV for 5 hours a day?
Yeah.
Wow. That's really disappointing.
And I'll have a link to, there's only that study and one other article I mentioned. I'll have a link to both those in the show notes if you want to dive into it.
What about reading?
Yeah, you're sitting. It doesn't really.
So any sitting activity?
Yeah.
We need to include other people that might be sitting for other things.
I think watching TV was just the easiest way in the survey for people to correlate with, like, I'm definitely sitting for this. That's my guess, yeah.
Plus, you can time it because you have episodes and movie lengths.
People are just kind of aware of how many hours of TV they watch a day. So
that's true, because when I sit and read, I have no idea I have no concept of time.
Yeah. And then since we're going to be talking about steps and increasing activity kind of that way, I want to touch on something about the 10,000 steps a day that you may have heard. That's not really scientific. It actually came from a pedometer maker in the 1960s.
What?
They just used 10,000 because it was kind of a nice round number. And the actual pedometer itself was, I don't know how to pronounce this exactly, but it was called like Mampo K, which means 10,000 step meter.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it was launched by a company called Yamasa before the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. So this was just like a big marketing thing for the Olympics to get people to walk more.
My life is a lie.
Also, the number, because it was catchy, they picked it, but also the Japanese character for 10,000 was said to kind of look like a person walking.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
The real research says that the benefits kind of start to top off around 7,000 to 8,000 steps a day for most adults, and it could be as low as like 4,400 steps a day for older adults. Now, there's not necessarily a downside to getting 10,000 steps a day, although I did just see a study just like 2 days ago on Instagram that getting 10,000 steps a day actually decreased your total calorie expenditure because of some of the exercise offset stuff that we talked about an episode or two ago. So basically, you're doing all that effort to get 10,000 steps a day, but then because of that, you sit around a lot more than you would have otherwise. So it's like a negative benefit.
Wow. Okay. I have a question.
Yeah.
So if they're saying you shouldn't be watching TV or sitting for more than 3 hours a day,
right?
But you're really only trying to get like 7,000 to 8,000 of steps a day. What else are you doing?
You're living your life, man.
Are you just standing? Well, I was like thinking of like a workday.
Yeah, a workday. Yeah, I don't necessarily know that they're saying like there's definitely a way to fix this. They're just saying this is what the studies look like. So basically, desk jobs are bad is the outcome here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking like the standing desks are great, but the standing in one place is also not like great, right?
Yeah, I think there are some downsides. I don't know if those downsides are worse than this, but yeah.
3 hours. So you're only supposed to be sitting for 3 hours a day.
Yeah, something like that.
So basically, after we do this podcast, we only have 2 left.
Yeah.
That's wild.
We just have to go be very active to offset that.
But you only get like 7,000 to 8,000. I just like, for me, I'm like, okay, if I'm only sitting for 3 hours a day, 7,000 to 8,000 steps. Like, I'm going to
Well, the 7,000 to 8,000 steps aren't going to offset the sitting. They're just going to help.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it's all just a matter of like trying to improve as much as you can.
I need like tangible recommendations from this study. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think like 3 hours a day of sitting max seems like kind of crazy to me as someone who's had a desk job for over a decade.
Yeah. I mean, the study isn't necessarily telling you how to walk more. It's just telling you you're more likely to die earlier. So.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah. All they can do is say, hey, here's the outcome. We'll leave it to somebody else to figure out how to fix that.
But the good thing is if you're already on a plant-based diet, you can offset some of that anyways, right?
That's right. But we do have some tactics for how to fit in some steps, which is one way of being more active throughout your day. A lot of these tips are going to be about walking or getting in steps. So let's start first with like when we say like you should walk here or there, where would you go walk like physically?
Yeah, I think this can be a good thing to cover just because like if you're in like an apartment or an office building or something, it might not be obvious like where would I go do this shit you're telling me to do?
Right. So, the best one would probably be outside if it's possible and convenient. Like if you can just bounce out your front door, do a quick lap around the neighborhood.
Get some vitamin D. Make sure you're wearing sunscreen.
Yeah. Next up, if you're in an apartment or a hotel, maybe you could walk up and down the hallways. I used to do that in an old apartment building, or you can even walk around the building if the weather's nice.
Yeah, your apartment was pretty small, so
yeah.
You definitely needed to go out in the hall.
Yeah. If you have a basement, if you have a house, you have a basement, you could walk there, maybe if it's a big open space. If you're in an office building, you could use the hallways there again, kind of like the apartment, or maybe the parking lots. We used to walk around the parking lot a lot. So the parking lot went kind of around the building, so we would just walk the parking lot. Or you could do open office floors. Some office buildings have big floors that don't have a lot going on, or just open office plans. You can walk there.
Yeah, I would walk around the office space when I was in a building because everything had badge readers, and like, you're not going to track my time going out to the parking lot to walk.
Right. Yeah, that's funny. And then some places, like I guess apartments, or no, oh yeah, some apartments, some hotels, even some offices have like a little gym in it. You could use a treadmill there.
Yeah,
So you could do that too.
but this is for more like little tiny pieces of
Yeah.
walking, not like
Yeah, this is probably not something you'll want to like go to something for.
yeah.
So it had to be pretty close, within a minute or so. You'd have to be able to get to a place to walk within a minute for some of the tips we have here.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have any other good options, you can just walk in circles in the largest room you have in the house, or even buy like a walking pad or a treadmill for your house.
Yeah.
If you want to kind of get serious about this.
Just walk around the kitchen island.
Right.
In circles.
Yeah, there you go.
Change directions though, so you don't wear your shoes in one side.
Make friends with your downstairs neighbor. All right. So now let's get into some of the ways we can maybe approach this. Some of the first ones that are like free and don't involve any setup or anything like that. One is to walk during phone calls. This is one I've tried to do for a while. I don't do it every time, but it's always been in the back of my mind. But if you have a phone call that's not like a camera phone call, if you're just on audio only, just walk every time you're on an audio phone call.
Man, I don't really think this works for a lot of work calls.
Yeah. Well, yeah, some stuff you have to be at your computer, like look at information or whatever, but...
Like a call with your mom.
Yeah. Well, there are some work calls where it's just a discussion. I have a lot of those. So you can walk for those.
I don't feel like I ever had any that I would be able to just like walk around and not pay attention very good in.
Yeah. A lot of these are going to be pretty individual based on, your circumstances.
But like personal calls.
Yeah,
you definitely do it with personal calls. You don't need to pay attention during those.
Yeah. If you're on hold, on hold with the doctor's office or something like that, there you go. Also, you can kind of pace or walk when you're listening to podcast or audiobooks. I bet a lot of people probably do this already.
I heard a really cool tip of like, if you're super into an audiobook that you're listening to or like a podcast, maybe a stabby podcast that you like to listen to about people getting stabbed.
Okay. As you do.
As you do, as women do. You could pair only listening to that podcast or that audiobook with walking. Like, I don't listen to this unless I'm walking.
We do that with books, too. When we listen to some together, and we only listen to that when we're walking. So it's like, a lot of the time, I'm like, wow, we need to go walk because I want to hear what happens next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty cool trick.
Yeah, I think so, too. Another one that I used to do quite a bit, I do it now more, but not quite as dogmatic as I was before, is like park as far away as you can when you go somewhere. So if you like go to the office building or even to the grocery store, just park at the very last spot available.
And your car's less likely to get dinged or hit.
Yeah,
so
100%. That's definitely true.
And always take your cart back to the cart return.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're a shitty person.
Right. And you get steps. If you don't drive or park to work, if you take public transportation, the kind of similar tip for this is to get off one stop early and then walk the rest of the way.
I get so lost, though.
Yeah. You have to know where you're at, I think.
I'd get a lot of steps. I'm not so good with maps.
Get a lot of steps, never show up where you were.
Yeah.
Call an Uber to take you home at the end of the day. Another one you probably heard before is like always take the stairs. If it's fewer than 4 floors, you say, I take the stairs every time. If it's more than 4 floors, you can take the stairs if you have time. And if you don't want to show up like out of breath or whatever.
Right. Like if you have an interview and you're wearing nice clothes and you don't want to meet someone being like, maybe just take the elevator that time.
Right. But yeah, stairs whenever possible. Also, another one is you could go whenever you're working throughout the day. If you have to use the restroom, you could go to the one on a different floor or the one furthest away in the building.
Yeah, and then your office mates won't ever hear you poop because you're in a different bathroom than they would be in.
That's true.
With other people you don't work with.
Yeah.
And no one would ever expect you to be in there.
Yeah. You can also do
Pro
this.
tip.
You can also do this at home if you do have multiple bathrooms or something. You could go to the one farthest away from wherever you're working at home. So yeah, it's just and a lot of these are like not much, but it adds up over time. You're getting in 20, 30 extra steps, 15 times a day, something like that. That adds up.
You pee 15 times a day?
No, I'm talking about adding all these together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. I never noticed that about you.
You can also attach walking to some existing habits. So you can walk for like 5 minutes after your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all three of those. And that is also supposed to help with like digestion and some other things too. So you get some double benefit there. Also, it just like makes you feel better. I always like walking right after I eat. I'm not sure. You can also walk around while you wait for like coffee or tea to brew. If you want somebody that makes coffee in the morning or makes a cup of tea, something like that. Wait for the water to boil, walk around for a while. You can also walk around while you have food in the microwave. So that's usually a couple minutes. You get a couple steps in there.
This is interesting. A little off topic, but my dad, dial-up. We had dial-up when I was a kid because we lived in the boonies.
Dial-up internet.
Dial-up internet.
Which means...
And we had it for a long time. Even like 10 years ago, my parents still had dial-up.
Your computer calls a phone number to connect to the internet. That's what that used to mean, kids.
But it like takes a while.
Yeah.
So my dad's thing is like, this takes like a minute to connect. So while that's happening, I'm going to go load the dishwasher or like unload the dishwasher or do whatever.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Good
So
idea.
kind of the same.
Right.
Find inefficient things and go do steps.
Yeah, definitely. Another one you can do is do a short lap after every time you go to the bathroom. So this is kind of like you can go to the bathroom far away, or if that's not really an option, then when you go to the bathroom, just like do a lap around whatever a lap means to you, like a lap around your room or around your basement.
Just like weirdly pace in the bathroom.
Yeah, you can do that too. Very short, small circles. Yeah. And if you don't have a dedicated spot to do like short walks, like if these are like, okay, these sound cool, but there's no really, I can really walk for a lot of these.
Yeah.
Then you can kind of combine it with tasks like chores, kind of like you were just saying, your dad went to like do like dishes or laundry, something like that. So like every time you would walk, like if you have your coffee brewing or you have something in the microwave, whatever, go do a load of laundry or go do some dishes or, whatever you need to do in the house.
It's not really adding like extra time to your day.
Right. And you're getting chores done.
Yeah.
So,
a triple win?
Yeah. You can also do like a lap tax. So before you leave a place that you're at, before you leave a store, before you leave the office, before you leave the gym, you do an extra lap around, the building or parking lot or whatever, and before you go to your car.
I would never do this at the office. That's going to result in me talking to other people.
Yeah. If you're
when I want to go home.
Leaving the same time as everybody else, you're basically just making a round to talk to everybody.
Fuck that. My introverted self could never.
Yeah. And then if you work from home and, interruptions don't come naturally and maybe like some of these things don't apply to you, like I don't drink coffee, I don't drink tea, whatever, you can also just set a timer at your desk to remind you to go walk. And then if you wear like a fitness tracker, like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch or something like that, you can set those up to remind you. It's usually like once an hour. I know Apple Watch's default's always been like 10 minutes before the hour, every hour, it'll tell you to stand up. So you can like use those reminders to go take a lap.
Yeah, I know Fitbit will give you a reminder 10 minutes before the hour's up if you don't have 250 steps that hour.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like that considers like, have you already walked?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So yeah, there's some things you can do. So all of those are like really easy, free things to do. Next, we have a couple that are smaller, but they might have a little bit of setup.
Okay.
So one is set up a calendar event. So if you have a desk job, you probably use something like an email thing that has a calendar built in. So you can block off 5 minutes between meetings, like block it off like a meeting, enter it as a meeting, and then use that for a 5-minute walk between your meetings.
I like that.
Another one is, so if you're in an office, you can go get like your drinks, you're filling up your water throughout the day, or you're going to get coffee from the work machine. You can use the farthest point away in the building that you can get water to go do that.
We should move our fridge downstairs.
Our fridge is downstairs.
No, in the basement.
Oh, all the way downstairs. You can also put like common items slightly inconveniently farther away from you.
Tell me more.
So things like your water bottle, your phone charger, any snacks you might have for the day, put them somewhere where you have to get up and walk to go grab them.
I like all of those except for water because I think that might just be like, I don't drink that day. Like if I get like really focused.
Okay, let's replace it with, instead of you're keeping your water far away, you keep your coffee or your V8 energy far away.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, because you got to have that, right?
Yeah, you have to.
You can also try setting up what's like a step. So, okay, you have a step goal for the day, maybe you want to get your 7,000, 8,000 steps, maybe sometimes 10,000 steps, whatever. then you can also set up a step floor for the day. So even on the days where you can't hit your goal, you say, okay, no matter what, though, I'm going to get 5,000 steps a day as a minimum. So it's like, okay, I can't get 10,000 a day, but I can't ever not get 5,000 steps.
I think this one makes a lot of sense because for me, if I have a goal and if I can't meet that goal, I get really demotivated to do anything, even trying to get that goal if I know I'm not going to be able to hit the actual number.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, if I'm like really, really busy and I know I can't hit 10,000, I might not get more than 2,000.
Right. And I mean, realistically, this is just like another goal, right? But if you just think of it mentally as like, okay, this is the minimum, but my actual goal is this other one, then you can kind of reframe it for yourself that way. And then another one is if you have dogs or any other animal that is suitable to walking.
What other animals would you walk on a leash?
I've seen people walk cats and like
have you really?
And hedgehogs. I don't think it's very common.
My brother had a hedgehog when we were growing up. It was he had a hedgehog named Hazel and it was his class pet.
Yeah.
And I guess the teacher, I don't really remember the whole lore behind it, but the teacher didn't want the hedgehog anymore.
Yeah.
And since my mom also worked at the school, they gave it to my brother. And so he had this hedgehog for like a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
And it was hedgehogs are fucking weird.
They're weird?
They're kind of weird. I just remember it would go like meandering around the house and sometimes it would get stuck. Like it liked to find crevices.
You let it free roam?
Yeah, I remember it was free roaming a lot.
Huh.
So like sometimes it would get stuck. Like, you know how there's like that space between your fridge and the wall, maybe?
Yeah.
It'd get stuck between that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you'd hear,
oh no.
That's what happens when they get stuck.
That's awful.
And then they puff up, which makes them harder to get out. And bless you.
Well, at least they let you know where they are when they're stuck.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Pretty much all I know about hedgehogs. It was mostly my brother's thing, so I was just kind of like, why do we have a hedgehog?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess you could walk your hedgehog. I didn't know you could put them on leashes.
Yeah. I think I've seen it in a clip or something. I don't know if anybody does this in real life. But yeah, mostly dogs.
Mostly dogs.
So you can go for a daily dog walk to get some steps in.
Bird watching.
Also,
perhaps.
It's good for the dog.
It is good for the dog.
Could you walk a bird? Do you think it would fly on a...
I don't think that's a good idea.
Cool.
That seems not very nice.
Okay, anyway.
You could go try to make friends with the neighborhood birds, or maybe set out a dish of crow offerings farther away from your house and like visit it to see what's going on. Did they leave you trinkets?
Tell me about what a crow offering is.
Yeah, so this is something I want to get into. But apparently, I've seen this on TikTok, right? So people will leave crow offerings. Like, apparently you can leave dog food or berries and nuts and various other things. You leave it for the crow food. And then you become friends with the neighborhood crow, and they will leave you trinkets. Like coins or like, I don't know, those little what are those can things called? Tabs, can tabs? Yeah. Various like random metal objects that are shiny they bring back, maybe like rocks. I don't know.
So you have a bartering system with the neighborhood crows?
Yes.
All right.
I want that. I need that in my life.
That sounds very interesting.
We're going to start doing it, so hopefully you're on board.
I'm always on board. All right. And then just a couple of things you can do that cost a little money, but they have pretty good return on the money. So one is a walking pad you can put under your desk.
Yeah.
I have one of these. To be honest, I haven't quite used it yet because we have a couple of options to do walking around, but I do want to get it set up and start using it because I think it can help me just stay more energized during the day too. But a lot of people do use these and really, really like them. So, and they're usually just a couple $100, fits under your desk, not as expensive as it seems like it would be. There you can also do either like a standing desk itself or like just a converter, like a stand to put your monitor and stuff up on to make your desk a standing desk. Yeah,
you could do a standing desk and walking pad combo, and you could be like the guy that plays piano for Rammstein. Yeah. How he's just like walking on a treadmill playing the keyboard.
Yeah, that's cool. And if you do a standing desk thing, you don't have to stand all day, right? Like, so you can just, even if you're, some people will ease into it. They'll like stand for 1 hour the first day, 2 hours the second day, whatever. But you can just kind of do that forever. Like just go and say, okay, I have a standing desk because I stand for the first hour of the day, every day.
Yeah, maybe you work up to a larger number.
Yeah. Or you just stick it 1 hour a day forever.
Man, I have a lot of trouble standing and focusing when I'm trying to work.
Yeah, I think it depends on the tasks specifically that you're working on. I can do some of them standing. Some of them I really just like feel like I need to sit and think. I don't know.
If it's like a monotonous task, like I'm typing in a spreadsheet, I can stand. But if it's like I need to use my brain power and like really be thinking, that's a sitting activity.
Yeah, this is kind of like how you need to turn down the radio in the car to back up.
Yeah. But like standing during calls is probably a good idea.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You don't need to pay attention to those.
Yeah.
Unless you're running the call.
Yeah.
No one's paying attention during those.
Yeah. And you can get the converters for just like a couple $100, or you can actually build your own if you're just wanting to like put your monitor up on something, put your keyboard up on something.
Yeah.
Go get a couple pieces of wood or even up some textbooks, whatever. You can get pretty creative. But an actual standing desk is going to be probably like $300 or $400 for some of the normal ones.
It's a little pricier.
You can get really fancy ones, but just do whatever makes sense.
If you're going to spend the money on that, though, also get an ergonomic mat to stand on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your feet and back are going to hurt.
Right. They also have those, I see those chairs a lot at like tech companies where it's like kind of like a leaning chair. You don't really sit in it. You just kind of lean your butt on it, but you're standing up.
I've never seen something like that.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what they're called, but it's just like, I think that it might be called a leaning chair. It's just like a little bitty, almost like a bike seat. Sort of, but more comfortable.
Yeah.
But that kind of thing. And your butt just kind of rests against it, but you're standing
That's interesting.
up. Yeah.
I also have seen those yoga ball chairs.
Yeah. I've never trusted that.
Really?
But I know people like them.
Well, they make them that are seated in a chair frame, so you can't like fall.
That's interesting.
But I think those are kind of interesting because like your abs have to like stabilize you the whole time. So you're sitting, but like you're still doing something.
Yeah. Cool. So a lot of options there for doing a standing desk type of setup, or even just not a normal chair type of setup.
Yeah.
And then the last thing you could do is like a treadmill desk. If you're like really serious about it, this is more expensive. It's basically just a full.
I didn't even know they had a treadmill desk.
Yeah, it's a full treadmill, but then it's just got like a desktop on it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I've never actually seen one of those.
But then you're kind of like screwed if you want to sit, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a bad option.
Yeah. This would have to be for somebody who's like, okay, I do walking every day. And we used to actually have a guy I worked with who he was like a triathlete, marathon runner or whatever. So he was literally walking on a treadmill his entire workday for like 2 years straight.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like he was just as productive and good at his job?
He actually was super productive and super good at his job.
Wow.
I can't imagine a lot of people like that are.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I asked him once, I was like, how do you do anything, like bouncing around? So I guess his tactic was actually, he ended up just hanging a TV on his wall for his monitor. And then he just kind of got used to typing while he was walking.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'd do all that, but he was extremely serious about his step count.
He doesn't do it anymore?
I don't know. The last couple times I've seen him, he's just been at his desk. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he had a ankle injury or something there for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Don't know if it was related to the walking every day, but
I would definitely get an ankle injury if I was like typing and walking.
he's a big runner though. And runners run into that kind of injury a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anywho, yeah. So those are some of the options you can do. But yeah, the kind of the key takeaway here is that frequency beats like doing intensity. So instead of like going for a focused walk or even a jog or a run one time a day to try to get them all in, try to break it up into just getting more steps throughout your day with everything you do. And you can also just add stuff in like go be active, like go play some frisbee golf or go outside and garden or something like that. All that stuff's going to get you more steps. Maybe choose those things instead of sitting around watching TV sometimes, some stuff like that. And so like the easiest way to get more steps is not to become like a walking person, like a person who goes for walks. It's just to kind of redesign your day. So walking becomes a little bit of everything you do.
And if you really like TV, maybe replace it with an audiobook.
Yeah.
You feel like you're watching TV in your brain, but you can walk around.
Or just put a treadmill in your living room. You can watch TV all you want and
That's
walk.
true.
Yeah. A lot of people do that. They'll put some kind of exercise bike or treadmill in the living room, whatever. And, it's really good. I always used to, at the gym, like when I would do cardio at the gym, I always like to go in the cardio theater where they were playing like a movie or something.
I've never seen a gym like this.
Yeah?
No.
That was a pretty normal gym. Yeah, I don't know.
I've always had like gyms in my apartment or like home gyms like that I put together shit in my apartment or my house or whatever.
Well, even Planet Fitness has like all the TVs and then you can tune into the audio on one of the TVs through the treadmill or whatever.
That's true.
So you could watch movies through that, I guess.
But you're making it sound like it's a theater. Like it's way cooler.
That one was a theater. There were no lights. You were on a cardio machine and it was a theater screen movie.
But then they pick the movie?
Yeah, they pick the movie.
You
But they
get to vote on it?
tell you ahead of time what the movies are going to be. So
Were they any good movies?
They were like blockbusters, whatever, normal movies.
Mhm.
Yeah. They weren't always good movies. Anyway, yeah. So put a treadmill or an exercise bike in your living room, something like that.
It's like that girl that does, I think I've talked about her before, the girl that does cozy cardio.
Yeah.
She like gets her cute little drink in the morning and she puts on like cozy clothes and she lights a candle and dims the lights and then she turns on her favorite show or movie and she just walks on a treadmill for like an hour.
Exactly. That's a great way to do it.
Cozy cardio.
There you go. Cool. All right. So now let's get into our myth of the week this week, which is that leather, animal-based leather, is more environmentally friendly than vegan leather or pleather.
I'm sure you already know this since you're on social media a lot, but every week and or month, there's this new unoriginal thing that like every single person that posts anti-vegan content is saying.
Yeah.
And this month, it seems to be that vegans are terrible because they prefer vegan leather over animal leather, and that's destroying the environment.
Yeah. So we're going to get into like comparing the two, but let's just start with how often are you buying vegan leather?
Okay. I have been arguing about this a lot on Threads. For some reason, this week, because we had Earth Day this week,
Yeah.
I've been an absolute menace on Threads. Like, I am just an angry little bitch on Threads, and I've been having a great time.
Oh,
So let's start there. But I've been arguing back and forth with people about leather, right? And like this one person wrote me this fucking monologue bullshit. And I was like, girl, I buy pleather once a year tops for like tennis shoes.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Maybe. I think like you mostly wear Hokas now. I don't even think they have vegan leather.
Well, I think the material that is like the insert type stuff on the sides and stuff, I think
I guess a little bit, yeah.
Vegan leather, but like how much is on there?
Yeah.
Not much. I'm not buying vegan leather jackets. I don't wear vegan leather purses.
Right.
I wear canvas stuff. Like every material I buy has nothing to do with leather or vegan leather.
Right.
It's like maybe you'd find vegan leather in your car, but like how often are you buying a car?
Right.
And like if it comes to like couches, furniture, I'm not buying vegan leather or leather.
Yeah.
I'm not buying those.
Yeah.
So like what are you buying that's leather?
I was
Or
trying
pleather.
to think the other day, like the only I was thinking like maybe some gym stuff, but then I started thinking through it. I don't think any of it is even like a fake leather. I think most of it is, like rubbers and like
it wouldn't have been made with leather anyway.
Right, exactly. It's nothing that was like meant to be leather, like right, a replacement for leather. It's all like plastics or rubbers or whatever that were never going to be leather at all.
Exactly. The only other things I can think about are like belts.
Yeah.
Which I have never worn a leather or a pleather belt. I've always bought like, I don't know, belts that are made of like some kind of cotton or something.
Yeah. I have had leather belts in the past, but the belt is something like I wear one belt and I keep it for 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. Or like a wallet.
Yeah.
I've never had a leather wallet in my whole life.
My wallet's like it's like a metal.
Yeah, yours is metal. Mine's like a canvas one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. It's just funny. It's just another funny one because it's like they find this very, very niche, almost non-consequential thing that like vegans are doing wrong, and then they blow it into this big thing because that was kind of my thing was like I maybe buy vegan leather, something with vegan leather once a year, but like every day I'm making the choice to eat a plant-based diet.
Right.
Multiple times a day, which is better for the environment. So like even if you were to say vegan leather is the worst thing that could happen to the environment, I'm offsetting that by choosing a plant-based diet year-round. Yeah. But we'll get into why there's more than meets the eye here.
Yeah, for sure. So, first of all, a lot of people just think of leather, like animal-based leather, as a byproduct of cattle farming, which is mostly true, but it's a lot more complicated than that, too.
Yeah. So I've read a lot of articles because I've been arguing with a lot of people. And I think most people consider leather to be a co-product of like basically meat and dairy because there is an incentive to farm animals in order to sell this.
Right.
It's sold at a high enough price that like it does matter.
Yeah, it's like suddenly if you weren't able to sell the hides for leather anymore or whatever, like maybe your farm economics wouldn't make sense anymore. Like it actually matters.
Yeah, you might not make a profit if you couldn't sell animal-based leather.
Right.
So it is a co-product. A byproduct would be like a little sprinkling on the top.
Right.
So for any vegetarians or plant-based people or vegans who are buying leather thinking it is a byproduct, so it's not doing any harm, that's not necessarily true because you are basically proving the business model of animal farming by giving them money so that they're making a profit.
Yeah. Yeah. The only way that it is even kind of true is like there aren't really animals that are raised specifically for leather.
That's true. But if we go towards a plant-based diet and, we're using less animals for food, then I think there does come a point where like leather either goes up a lot in price or they are like basically raising animals for their skin.
Right. And then they'll be at a point where it's like, okay, well, we're wasting all the meat in this animal, so let's make more meat. So it's like, it's definitely like two products in one, basically.
Yeah.
So obviously leather is tied to the cattle production, kind of like we're talking about here, which has its own issues for land use, methane emissions, water use.
Yeah, greenhouse gases, water use, incredibly inefficient.
Right. And those three are going to be like for the cattle, regardless of the leather situation. But the one that really comes into play with leather specifically is the tanning process.
Right, in which they're using like formaldehyde and they're using chromium, which are like carcinogenic and incredibly toxic.
Yeah.
They end up in waterways near these facilities.
Yeah, the leather is like the animal's skin, right? So the skin doesn't come off the animal ready to use as leather. It goes through a whole industrial process. And most of the time this is done in countries without a lot of safety regulations. So the factories where they're doing tanning are very unsafe.
Yeah.
I think I saw in one of the tanning areas in Bangladesh, the World Health Organization did a study and said 90% of the people who live near the tanning facility die before 50.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
It's very, very bad. And I was looking at like pictures from inside the facility. Most of them aren't even wearing any kind of protective equipment, like personal protective equipment. They're like standing in these tubs of like chemicals and like they don't have any kind of face mask or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, so some of the vegan leathers, they're not like without fault here. A lot of those are made from plastics or like PVC, which is also a big industrial issue.
Polyvinyl chloride.
Right. But there are also a lot of other issues. They're made from polyurethane also.
Yeah.
So polyurethane and PVC have a lot of issues as far as being plastics and a lot of manufacturing problems and probably even some carcinogenic issues.
Yeah, and they're not biodegradable.
Yeah, but they're used for a lot of things other than vegan leather, obviously.
Yeah.
But also there are plant-based alternatives. So there's plant fiber-based materials that are used for leather. There's a bunch of recycled stuff, biomass stuff. I've seen some mycelium, whatever, like the mushroom-based composites used for like leather replacements.
I've seen pineapple skin.
Yeah, pineapple skin.
Cactus.
Yeah, cork.
Yeah. There are like a ton of like new, truly more eco-friendly plant-based leather alternatives.
Yeah. So I would say if you are trying to buy something that's vegan leather, I would probably still try to avoid polyurethane and PVC and go for one of these more eco-friendly.
Yeah, if you could find it.
Yeah. A couple other things you can do to try to help reduce your impact here when you're buying the vegan leather. Use what you already own for as long as possible, even if that means trying to repair it.
Yeah.
So that's always a good option. And then you can buy, things secondhand, not like real leather, but buy, vegan leather materials secondhand.
Yeah. I kept getting people telling me, well, buying leather secondhand is way better than buying vegan leather firsthand.
Yeah.
And I see where they're coming from, but at the same time, like the demand for leather products. So like, let's say I'm looking for a leather jacket.
Yeah.
But like me, I'm a vegan.
Right.
So I'm looking for a leather jacket, or some vegans are saying a secondhand leather jacket, right?
Right.
But like, let's say there's an omnivore out there that's also looking for a leather jacket and they also want to buy secondhand.
Right.
But they're willing to buy leather firsthand.
Right.
And if there is not a secondhand option, they are going to buy leather firsthand.
Right.
Right. So like if I go to a thrift shop and find the only leather jacket that either of us can wear in this area, now I have purchased the secondhand leather and increased the demand for first-hand leather because the person that wanted
Yeah.
a leather jacket, a real leather jacket, cannot find it secondhand.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, that is just like a scenario I cooked up in my head. But like, also for me personally, as a vegan, I don't want animal flesh on my body.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking gross. That's just my opinion.
I think a lot of vegans feel that way.
Like, I would feel like I don't even like sitting on, like, my parents have like a leather couch. I think about it constantly when I'm visiting them. It disgusts me. I find it really gross.
Yeah.
Like, your whole couch is made out of a dead cow. That's fucking nasty.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. That's my 2 cents on secondhand.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. If you get the vegan leather and let the non-vegan get the secondhand leather, then nobody has to buy new leather.
Right.
I think we can say that, for various reasons, vegan leather is definitely not like worse for the environment than normal leather because it involves the entire cattle industry, and also because there are a lot of very low impact vegan leather options available that are not PVC and polyurethane.
Yeah. I think even if you're talking about the plastic-based vegan leather, it's still probably a wash environmentally if you're comparing it to animal-based leather.
Right.
And then a further point, because I've had a couple people that call themselves vegan that are coming in and being pro-leather, is like, it's still harming an animal to take their skin.
Yeah.
It's still incredibly cruel to kill an animal for their skin.
Right.
And like, you can't just do incredibly cruel and inhumane things under the guise of it's environmentally friendly. Because I'll tell you what, here's a scenario I also cooked up in my brain, is that if all the old people died and we used their skin for leather, everyone would throw an uproar, right? Like, people would be pissed.
Well, and also because, going back to, we were talking about it as being a co-product and not necessarily a byproduct. If you were trying to use that frame of mind, you could use the same argument the other way and say, I eat meat because these cows are going to be used for leather anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't make sense to you. So why does it make sense the other way around?
Yeah. I just think, like, in general, if we're calling ourselves vegan, we should not be advocating for using animals for any nefarious means, period.
Yeah. Especially when we have
there
other
are
options.
Other alternatives.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, you sound kind of stupid because the facts and data are actually against what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not super environmentally friendly to do leather. And the humans and the environment are impacted by the tanning process of leather.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think leather has always got a big sticking point because it is like extremely durable, lasts for an extremely long time. It's really strong. But, we have technology now. We're making better and better alternatives all the time that are even stronger. So, yeah. Better,
stronger, faster. What is that from?
That's from the $6 Million Man.
I've never seen that.
I've never seen it, but I've heard of it and I know what it is. It's from the 70s.
It's also from a TV commercial.
Probably, yeah. I don't know which one, though. It's probably Nike or something, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, I think that's it for this week. If you guys could like and subscribe on Apple Podcast and Spotify, that really helps us out. You can also leave a review and a rating there. And then you can leave a comment on YouTube and Spotify as well. We like reading those. Also, we have our links to our websites and social media in the show notes, as well as a link to our Deficient Vegans Discord channel, where you can come hang out with us in the community and chat about a whole bunch of stuff.
It's a real good time.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to say bye?
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.